This lesson is the midpoint formula. The goal is to find the midpoint of a line segment. By the end of this lesson, you should understand and be able to use a formula to find the midpoint of any line segment in the coordinate plane. The midpoint of a line segment is the middle of the line or the center of 2 points on a line segment. The midpoint formula works on all line segments, whether they are vertical, horizontal, or diagonal. So since we're finding the middle of a line segment, all you do is take your x coordinates, add them together, divide by 2. Your 2 y coordinates, add them together, and divide by 2. We're finding the middle of them. So you have your first point, your second point, add your x points, divide by 2, add your y points, divide by 2. Our first example is a line segment that has the endpoints 4 and -10 and -2, 0. It wants us to find the coordinates of its midpoint M. So I'm going to add the 2 x values, divide by 2, add the 2 y values, and divide by 2. So I'm going to take 4 plus -2 and divide by 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. My y's are -10 plus 0 divided by 2. -10 divided by 2 is -5. So my final answer, the coordinates of the midpoint, is 1, -5. My second example says a line segment has endpoints -2, 5, -10, -3. Find the coordinates of midpoint M. Again, I'm going to take my 2 x values, -2 plus -10, add them together and divide by 2. That's -12 divided by 2 is -6. I now have my x value. My y values are 5 plus -3 divided by 2. 5 minus 3 is 2 divided by 2 is 1. So my final answer, the coordinate of the midpoint, is -6, 1. The next kind of problem is a little bit different. They tell us that M is the midpoint, and they give us with the coordinates of the midpoint and the coordinates of one of the endpoints. They want to know the other endpoint. So I know the middle. The middle is half of something, and I know what the endpoints are. Well, because the middle is half of something, I'm going to multiply those numbers by 2, each one of them. So I have -1 times 2 and 1 times 2. And I'm going to put each one of those numbers on the right side of the equal sign. So my x value is -1 times 2, that's -2. The y value is 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, I took the midpoint, multiplied it by 2 because it was the middle of something, it's half of something. Now all I have to do is take x, and I'm going to look at these values. And I'm going to put x plus 1 and y minus 3. The 1 and the -3, again, are my other endpoint values. Now I'm going to solve. Up here, I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. Here, I add 3 to both sides. My x value equals -3. My y value equals 5 because 2 and 3 is 5. So my final answer, the endpoint D, the value or the coordinates are -3 and 5. The first example says the midpoint is 3.65. One endpoint is 2, 5. They want to know what the other endpoint is. My midpoint is half, so I'm going to take both of those numbers times 2 and put them on the other side of an equal sign. My x value is 3.6, and 3.6 times 2 is 7.2. My y value, 5 times 2, is 10. Now I just go look at my x and y values in my endpoint and set them equal. So I have x plus 2 and y plus 5. On the top equation, I subtract 2 from both sides, and on the bottom equation, I subtract 5 from both sides. At the top, x equals 5.2, y equals 5, so the coordinate of endpoint T is 5.2, 5. So at the end of the lesson today, you're going to put where you were or where you are now on the learning scale. Are you Penny and clueless? Are you Raj and Howard and kind of get it? Are you Leonard and you're very smart? Or are you Sheldon, a pure genius? So after you do your 6 practice problems, you'll go do your assignment in IXL. Good luck. This is the end of this lesson.